It is impossible for a person to truly know their Creator and not love Him. It is impossible for a person to love their Creator and not submit to Him. And it is absolutely impossible for a person to submit to their Creator, the Almighty Allah, and be unhappy. This is absolutely impossible.
I want you to picture a library for a second. But not just any library. Imagine a library that contains, the foundation of an entire civilization's worldview.
Right.
You're holding a book that has been recited for 14 centuries with over 6,000 verses and nearly 80,000 words.
That is a massive data set to work with.
It is huge. But here's the mystery that I stumbled upon while prepping for this. In that entire ocean of text, there's one specific name of God, a core description of reality that appears exactly once.
Just one time.
One single time.
That's statistically improbable. Usually when you look at the primary names of God in the Qur'an, like Ar-Rahman, the Merciful, or Al-Hakim, the Wise, they are repeated dozens, if not hundreds of times. The repetition is usually the point. It drills the attribute into the reader's mind.
Exactly. You see those everywhere. So when a word shows up only once, it's like a flare going up. It's demanding attention by its exclusivity. The name is as-Samad, and the sources we're looking at today make a staggering claim. This one word isn't just a vocabulary term. It's like a zip file for the entire theology of monotheism.
That is a really useful analogy. If you double-click as-Samad, you effectively unpack the entire relationship between the Creator and the cosmos.
And get this, the chapter that contains this one word is said to be equal to 1/3 of the entire Qur'an.
That's a massive claim. One word, one mention, but it carries the weight of 1/3 of the revelation.
Right. So my mission for this deep dive is to figure out why. What is packed inside this word as-Samad that makes it so linguistically and theologically heavy? Because on the surface, it's just 4 letters. But apparently, it's the answer to the question, who is God in relation to me?
It is. And to understand that, we have to look at the definitions. And I say definitions plural because this word is a bit of a linguistic prism.
A prism?
Yeah, it reflects different meanings depending on how you look at the root.
Okay, let's unpack that. I saw a few translations in the notes. I saw the self-sufficient. I saw the eternal refuge. And I even saw the solid.
Ah, the solid.
Now, I have to be honest, the solid threw me off. It feels, I don't know, a bit physical. Like we're talking about a rock or a wall.
It does sound physical, but hold that thought, because the solid is actually the deepest metaphysical point here.
Okay.
But let's start with the most common understanding first. As-Samad as the destination.
The destination, like a physical place you go to.
Not a place, but a direction of need. One of our sources breaks down the linguistic roots beautifully. It explains that as-Samad is the entity to whom everyone turns in times of need.
The final stop.
The final stopping point for all requests.
Okay, so let me try to visualize this. If I'm in trouble or need money, I might ask a friend. If they can't help, I might ask a bank. If the bank fails, eventually the chain has to stop somewhere.
Exactly. Think of it like a chain of command. In any organization or even in the universe, you can pass the buck up the ladder. But as-Samad is where the buck stops. There is no one above him to ask. He is the ultimate authority. And this connects to the definition of self-sufficient.
Ah, I see.
If everyone is turning to him, but he turns to no one, he is by definition independent.
He's the CEO who doesn't report to a board.
Even more than that, he's the CEO who doesn't need the company to exist.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I want to jump to something I found that really gave me an aha moment about this destination idea. It was in one of the sources talking about the pre-Islamic era, the days of Jahiliyyah.
The time of ignorance. This is crucial context.
Apparently, the Arabs used this word, samad, before the Qur'an was even revealed. But they weren't using it for God. They were using it for their dudes.
What they do is...
You know what I mean? The big boss. If you had a tribal chief, someone who was noble, someone who had high status, they would call that guy a samad.
Right, and you have to understand the stakes of living in the desert in the 6th century. It's a harsh environment. If your water dries up, if a rival tribe raids your camels, if there's a famine, you are dead unless you have a protector. A samad was the person the tribe flocked to.
A pillar.
He was the pillar. You didn't go to the commoners, you went to the samad.
So the Qur'an comes down into this culture where people are essentially hero worshiping their human leaders, and it takes the specific word and just flips it.
It reclaims it.
Yeah.
It effectively says, you think that guy is the chief. the guy who gets sick, the guy who eventually dies and leaves his position to his son, he's not the Samad.
It's a reality check.
It is. It elevates the concept from the social to the divine. It's saying that while you might have human leaders you rely on, they're temporary, they have limits.
Right.
God is the ultimate Samad. He's the capital S Samad. He is the final destination for every single need in existence, not just tribal disputes.
That context changes everything. It's not just a random abstract word. It's a correction of their worldview. But we need to go back to that other definition. The weird one.
The solid.
Yes. The one who has no hollow. Or the one with no cavity. This was from early scholars like Ibn Abbas. I have to admit, when I read cavity, I'm thinking dentistry or biology class. What does having a hollow have to do with being God?
It sounds strange to modern ears, but it is actually a profound statement about biology and dependence. Think about your own body for a second. Biologically, what
flesh, bone, blood.
You are a tube. From the mouth to the stomach to the intestines, you are a series of hollow cavities. And why do those cavities exist?
To process stuff. Food, water, air.
Exactly. You are hollow because you are designed to receive. You are an empty vessel that constantly needs filling from the outside world.
Wow.
You don't put food in the hollow, you die. You don't put water in the hollow, you die. Being hollow is the biological definition of being needy.
Okay, wait, so that flips the script.
Right.
We usually think of hollow as just empty space, but you're saying hollow implies vulnerable.
Precisely. The source contrasts as-Samad with human beings, and specifically with Jesus, peace be upon him. The argument is that human beings eat food.
They're dependent.
They are dependent on external resources to stay alive. They have to intake energy.
So as-Samad implies a solidity, metaphorically speaking, that requires no intake.
Correct. It means he has no internal mechanism that requires input. He doesn't eat. He doesn't drink. He doesn't have internal organs that require maintenance.
He's the only existence that doesn't need a battery recharge.
It's the ultimate independence. If you need to eat, you are a slave to your hunger. A Samad is the one who feeds but is never fed.
That is actually deep. So the solid isn't about being a rock, it's about being absolutely free of the need to consume.
Exactly.
This actually leads perfectly into the story of why this name was revealed, because it wasn't just random info. I was reading in the sources about the specific incident with the polytheists. They came to the Prophet Muhammad and asked him a question that honestly sounds kind of ridiculous to us now.
They asked for his lineage.
Yeah. They literally said, "Tell us the lineage of your Lord." Like they wanted to see God's family tree. Who's his dad? Who were his ancestors?
Well, it reflects their worldview. In tribal society, your lineage was your identity. Your power came from who your father was. So they tried to fit God into that same box.
Right. They wanted to know his ancestry, to understand his status.
And the answer they got was this chapter, Surah Al-Ikhlas. Say, he is Allah, one. Allah, the eternal refuge as-Samad.
Which completely dismantles their question.
It does. By saying he is as-Samad, the Qur'an is saying he does not beget, nor was he begotten. He has no parents, and he has no children.
Right, because if you have parents, you came from somewhere. You were dependent on them for your existence.
And if you have children, you are passing your legacy on because you will eventually die. Lineage implies a cycle of birth and death.
But as-Samad implies eternity and self-sufficiency.
It shut down the conversation because it proved their question was invalid to begin with.
It's like asking, what does the color blue taste like? And the answer is just no.
Essentially, yes. It categorically rejects the premise.
Okay, let's go even deeper into the theological nuggets here. One of our sources, the text referencing Ibn Kathir, who is a heavy hitter in classical commentary,
A very heavy hitter.
gave this massive list of attributes connected to as-Samad. It wasn't just the independent, it was like a laundry list of perfections.
Yes, Ibn Kathir provides a comprehensive definition that expands as-Samad from a single attribute into a completion of attributes. He says as-Samad is the master whose lordship is complete, the noble whose nobility is complete, the great whose greatness is complete.
The clement whose clemency is complete. It kept going. But why emphasize the word complete? Why not just say he is noble?
Because human attributes are always fragmented. Think about the most powerful person you know, a CEO, maybe a world leader. They have power, right?
Sure, lots of it.
But is their power complete? No. They can lose an election. They can be sued. They can have a heart attack. Their power has holes in it.
It's like Swiss cheese.
It is. Or think about someone who is really nice, a noble person, but cast them on a bad day, or when they're hungry or stressed.
And that nobility cracks.
Exactly. Ibn Kathir is teaching us that as-Samad isn't just about independence, it's about perfection. There are no cracks in his attributes.
Right.
His knowledge doesn't have gaps. His mercy doesn't have bad days.
So it means every quality of perfection reaches its absolute maximum in him.
It's the ceiling of perfection. Or like you said, the realization that there is no ceiling.
Right. And this brings us back to that paradox of need we touched on earlier. There's a beautiful dynamic mentioned in one of the sources. It simplifies the entire relationship between us and God into two lines.
God needs nothing. Creation needs everything.
It's a one-way street of dependence.
Imagine the destination analogy again. Picture millions of arrows representing needs. Every single arrow from every human, animal, and plant points toward him.
All of them.
But from him, there are no arrows pointing out to anyone else. He has no needs that point to another being.
That is a powerful visual. All arrows point up. None point down or sideways from him.
And the source connects this to a verse in Surah An-Naml. Is he not best who responds to the desperate one when he calls upon him? This is the practical application.
Why?
Because he is as-Samad. Because he is the only one with no needs. He's the only one capable of fully answering the desperate.
That's a good point. If I ask you for help, but you're also struggling and need help, you might not be able to save me. You're hollow too. You have your own needs.
Precisely.
But asking as-Samad is asking the only one who isn't struggling.
It's why the source mentions that people sometimes mistakenly take other guardians or friends hoping for power and honor. But those people are just as needy as they are.
Right.
True power only comes from the one who is self-sufficient.
This helps explain why this concept is so valuable. Which brings us back to the mission of this deep dive. Why is this chapter considered 1/3 of the Qur'an?
Yes.
There's a story where the prophet challenges his companions.
Yes, he asks them, is one of you not capable of reciting 1/3 of the Qur'an in a night?
Which, let's be honest, is a lot. If you've ever seen a physical copy of the Qur'an, reading 1/3 of it in one night is a marathon.
It is.
The companions were basically like, that's really hard. Who has the stamina for that?
They found it impossible. But then the prophet revealed the secret. He told them that reciting Surah Al-Ikhlas, this short chapter, centered on as-Samad, equals 1/3 of the Qur'an.
So how does the math work there? Is it just a spiritual bonus multiplier, like read this and get triple points?
It's not just points, it's about the content. Scholars explain that the Qur'an broadly covers three main topics: laws, stories, and theology.
Okay, break that down.
Laws are things like inheritance, marriage, how to pray. Stories are the histories of the prophets, Moses, Joseph, Abraham. And theology is the knowledge of who God is.
I see. So laws, history, theology, each is roughly 1/3 of the message.
Exactly. Now, Surah Al-Ikhlas doesn't tell a story. It doesn't give a legal ruling on divorce.
Yeah.
It is pure distilled theology. It is the essence of Tawheed, the oneness of God. So by reciting it and understanding as-Samad, you have effectively covered the entire theological pillar of the faith.
That makes total sense. It's the theology section of the library compressed into 4 lines.
And specifically, as-Samad anchors that theology. You can't understand the oneness of God without understanding his self-sufficiency. If he needed something, he wouldn't be one. He would be part of a team.
So we've got the theory, we understand the linguistics, but I want to pivot to the practical side. Because theology is great, but usually when people turn to religion, it's because they are in trouble.
They're desperate. That's usually the catalyst.
The sources mentioned a story of a Bedouin man. He's praying in the mosque, and the Prophet Muhammad is listening nearby. And this man isn't reciting a standard prayer, he's freestyle riffing.
He was invoking God by his understanding of reality. He said, "O Allah, I ask you, by the fact that you are the one, as-Samad, who begets not, nor was begotten."
He calls on the destination, and the Prophet's reaction wasn't just good job, it was intense.
It was very intense. He swore by the one who holds his soul. He said he has asked Allah by his greatest name.
The greatest name.
The name which, if he is asked by it, he gives. And if he is supplicated by it, he answers.
That is a blank check.
It's access.
Yeah.
But why? It's not a magic spell. It's because the man acknowledged the reality of the situation. By calling God as-Samad, the man was admitting, I have nowhere else to go. You are the only solid thing in a world of hollow things.
It's about sincerity.
Exactly. That level of sincerity, that recognition of absolute dependency is what opens the doors. When you stop relying on the middlemen, your job, your smarts, your connections, and go straight to the source, the response is guaranteed.
Now, one of our sources got very specific about practices. It mentioned some numbers and times. I want to share these just so our listeners have the full picture from the text we reviewed.
Yes, these are specific spiritual prescriptions mentioned in the source material.
It says that repeating as-Samad 115 times in sajda, that's the prostration, face on the ground before the dawn prayer, fajr, is said to help acquire truthfulness or honesty.
And there was another one regarding wudu, the ablution.
Right. It said repeating it often during ablution helps one achieve independence from the earthly world.
I think the connection there is fascinating, regardless of the numbers. Wudu is a preparation for prayer, a cleansing. Think about what you are doing mentally. By repeating the self-sufficient, you are mentally detaching yourself from your worldly dependencies before you stand in front of God.
It's like a mantra to reduce reliance on material things. You're washing your limbs, but you're also washing your brain of the idea that you need your boss's approval to survive.
Exactly. You're reminding yourself, I don't need the world. I only need as-Samad. It's training the mind to detach.
And that brings us to the synthesis of all this. One source made a comparison between as-Samad and the word as-Sayyid, or the master.
Yes, Sayyid creates an image of a boss or a chief.
But true mastery belongs only to the one who is self-sufficient. If a human master needs his servants to cook for him, is he really the master?
Or is he dependent on them?
Oh, that's a flip. The boss needs the employees just as much as the employees need the boss. If everyone quit, the boss is nothing.
Precisely. But as-Samad is the master who needs no servants, yet all servants need him. That is the only true definition of mastery.
So if we look at the big picture contrast here, it's pretty stark. On one side, you have creation. That's us.
Hollow.
We are hollow. We are needy. We are dependent. We are transient. We are tubes that need filling.
And on the other side, you have as-Samad Hinali, solid, self-sufficient, independent, eternal.
For the listener, the learner tuning in, why does this matter on a Tuesday morning when they're stuck in traffic?
It matters because of stress. Most of our stress comes from worrying about resources. Will I have enough money? Will my boss like me? Will my health last?
We worry because we are relying on fragile things.
We're relying on hollow things. We're leaning on walls that can crumble.
Exactly. Understanding as-Samad is the ultimate relief. It's knowing that there is a source that never runs out. There is a destination that is always open.
It allows you to bypass the anxiety of the middleman and go straight to the owner of the resources.
It's the ultimate shortcut. You stop worrying about the pipes and go straight to the reservoir.
Beautifully put.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with a thought that came from one of the sources. It really stuck with me. We talked about how the Arabs used to call their chiefs Samad.
Yes, the human Samads.
I find it so provocative that God chose that specific word. He didn't invent a new word. He took a title. People were fighting over status, leadership, who's the man.
And he effectively said, you're using that word with a lowercase s.
Let me show you what it looks like with a capital S.
Exactly.
Right.
It suggests that anything humans rely on, money, government, family, they're all just lowercase Samads. They're poor imitations of the real thing.
And once you see the capital S as Samad, you realize you never really needed the lowercase ones to begin with.
That is a powerful place to end it. From tribal chiefs to the master of the universe, all in one word.
Thanks for helping us unpack this. It feels like we barely scratched the surface, but we definitely opened the zip file.
It was a pleasure. A truly deep ocean in a single word.
And to you listening, thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.